Okay, kind of wanted to clear up any confusion that I put out in the last video, if there was some confusion, about some of the changes that they've made onto student loans. Basically, Trump is trying really hard to get rid of the student loan debt forgiveness, but whenever students are in college, they tend to go into a lot of debt, especially a lot of credit card debt. It's a point in their life whenever it's difficult to work because they're going to school. And so this comes from CNBC. For first-time borrowers or students, they can have a total lifetime borrowing limit of $257,000 for federal student loans. That's total. For unsubsidized student loans, which are basically for graduate students, they will be capped at $20,500 per year. So $20,500 per year. So that's pretty close to poverty level, which you know that you're probably not able to work a whole lot. The graduate students aren't able to work a whole lot because they're in grad school. And then with a lifetime limit, this is what I was talking about yesterday in my other video, with $100,000 for unsubsidized loans. So the borrowing for professional degrees, such as those for doctors and lawyers, will be limited to $50,000. $1,000 per year and $200,000 over a lifetime. $200,000 over a lifetime for lawyers and doctors. $50,000 a year. So they're giving more to people who want to become doctors and lawyers. It's going to take them a lot more money to get through grad school. That is currently for graduate and professional students that they can borrow up to full cost of the attendance each year. Now, parents borrowing through the federal government or Parent Plus loans, those programs will be capped at $20,000 per year per student, with $65,000, which is the lifetime limit. So that would be like the current standards. The parents of the dependent and undergraduates can also borrow up to the full cost of attendance each year. So Grad Plus loans are limited entirely. These are currently, they allow the grad students to borrow up to their entire cost of attendance minus any federal loans. So these are the new, according to CNBC, these are the new policies of loans that can be taken out by students to either get their doctorate or their professional degree or just get their bachelor's. So, and that's cutting it, lower than what it was before. Of course, I think that the Biden and Obama administrations, they tended to support I guess you could say, grants for graduate students that are doing research, grants for graduate students that were doing research to get their PhD. They tended to give larger possibilities for government loans. So it's being capped a lot tighter. Now I'm not going to lie to you. We have a lot of overeducated people, that have these higher degrees. I'm one of them. Okay. And then when those people get out, finding the jobs, that you would think you can get, especially for professors, the possibilities are not that good. Okay. Really, colleges do not pay better than high schools do. High schools pay better. Okay, you have to put a lot more time, a lot more work, but they still pay better. I have some some friends that I went to college with that are still in college, still working on their PhDs, and they say that they're losing their grants, that their grants are being cut. And that's a lot of what I said before. I don't feel like the Trump administration really supports students in any way. It's like it's just not, the funding right now is just not there for them, where they're cutting it. They're losing their grants for research. Most of the research that's really done is done by PhD students. That's the majority of the research that gets completed, that gets done, that gets put out. And they're dealing with a lot of losing grants for research. The other thing is that I want to add, there is a lot of overeducated people that are in, the United States now, and not really being able to find the jobs that it takes to pay these loans back, and or if they lose their grants for research, they don't really get to do a lot of research. I don't think many people think it's necessary to do it. My point is that students are going to be suffering. But really, in essence, one thing that I did say, I think in the last video, is we do need more construction workers. We do need more plumbers. We need more crafters that are honed to a specific skill. Mechanics, people like that have a specific skill going toward a specific trade. We are shorthanded on those people, and they can be done in trade schools. You don't really have to go to college. There are a lot of even online internet distance learning tech schools that can train you in some things. So as far as telling people, you don't have to go all the way through school. I went all the way through school and then some. But my point is we do need those people. We have a large amount of overeducated people out there that can't find decent jobs. And whenever you're in that particular category of person, it makes it a lot more difficult. I mean, let's say you decided to take a second job as a waitress or as a, worker at the local ice cream shop or something. Well, they're going to look at your record and see that you have a PhD, and you probably won't get that job. Even though you have the best education, you're going to be marked out because you do have the best education. Even your local grocery stores probably won't hire you because they're going to see you as somebody that's not going to stay. They want people who are going to stay. So it sometimes puts you into a market where you won't be hired, even for, if you live in a rural area where you're out of city or far away from the city, and all that's around you is something like pizza parlors or ice cream shops or something along the line of that, you probably won't get those jobs. So it kind of confines you to places where inner city jobs are open. So for those who are looking at trade schools, I've got two boys that are of the age where they're trying to figure out what they can do with their life. My twin boys are 23 now, and so I'm gearing them more toward trade schools than anything, because they the amount that they're asking for, and a lot of this has to do with how high the colleges are charging. The tuition goes up every single year. It never goes lower. It only goes up and up and up and up and up. That's the inflation rate that we're dealing with. So because the colleges are getting more expensive, it's making it harder to get degrees like doctorate degrees or professional degrees like lawyers or things like that. Even paralegals have to go to school for a pretty long time. So with the caps that I just mentioned, you can look them up online. I basically got my information from CNBC, but I do know that there's going to be a lot of cuts to education borrowing. And I want to tell people that I think trade schools are probably the best way to go now, instead of going all the way through to get your doctorate. Because really, colleges don't pay that much. My husband doesn't have a doctorate degree, and he makes 3 times what I make. You know, even as a full-time professor, he still made 3 times what I make, and he worked his way up to that. And let's see, he worked his way up to that, and as he went, he just basically stayed in the same field for a long period of time and kept going. And that may be the best for most people. Thank you. Have a good